On September 2024, Ellen DeGeneres stood on a Netflix stage and told the world she was done, finished with show business. By November, she moved to the English countryside, bought a farmhouse, and started posting pictures of chickens on Instagram. However, only 7 months later, she signed with WME, one of the biggest talent agencies in Hollywood, and told a live audience she was a little bit bored and would love to host again. So she announced a comeback tour, and then it was quietly cancelled, with insiders calling her radioactive. But even that didn't stop her. This is the story of why Ellen can't stop trying to come back, even when no one is asking her to.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show. That's a rough one. She's out there dancing with Kristen Bell, and in the back there's people that are getting up on the rack like this.
It's so weird when you see like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced.
Ellen is a nasty person.
For almost 2 decades, Ellen was the most trusted woman on daytime television. With 4 million daily viewers, 63 Emmys, a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and a brand built on 2 words, be kind. But in 2020, BuzzFeed published back-to-back exposés, with dozens of former employees describing a workplace of racism, intimidation, and fear. One employee said it plainly, that be kind BS only happens when the cameras are on. Then, a Warner Media investigation followed, and when it confirmed misconduct, 3 executive producers were fired. Ellen apologized on air, but former staff called it disingenuous, and the public agreed. She lost nearly half her audience in a single season. By May 2022, her show was over. She told The Hollywood Reporter she was leaving because the show wasn't a challenge anymore, as if it were her choice. But in her Netflix special, she said what everyone already knew.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business.
And for someone like Ellen, getting kicked out should have been the end of her story, except it wasn't.
I thought if I could make people happy, then they'll like me. And if they like me, I'll feel good about myself. And all I can say about that is thank God for the money.
That Netflix special was supposed to be the final word. Ellen DeGeneres, for your approval. Even the title tells us what she was really asking for. She joked about being pushed out of the industry, compared herself to Ronald McDonald, and admitted she was a very immature boss who used to chase employees through the hallways. All of it acknowledged, laughed about, but never once actually apologized for. And the critics noticed, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 33% score, IMDb landed at 5.1, and it also didn't crack Netflix's global top 10. It was the farewell nobody accepted, so she left and moved to the Cotswolds the day before the 2024 US election with her wife, Portia de Rossi. When asked later if Trump's re-election motivated the move, she didn't hesitate to say yes. For months, she posted about sheep wandering through her house, chickens in the garden, and double rainbows over the English countryside. This was supposed to be her retirement chapter. The woman who'd been kicked out was finally choosing peace. However, it lasted only about 9 months, because by July 2025, Ellen was sitting in front of a crowd at the Everyman Theatre in Cheltenham, telling interviewer Richard Bacon she was a little bit bored and would love to do a talk show again. 4 days later, Deadline reported she'd signed with WME for representation in all areas outside touring. Now we need to be clear about what that means. You don't sign with Hollywood's biggest talent agency because you're enjoying village life. You sign because you want back in. On top of that, she announced a 5-city UK tour for late 2025 in conversation with Ellen DeGeneres across Reading, Milton Keynes, Bath, Bristol, and Oxford. But those dates were pulled without warning, with refunds issued and no public explanation. Around the same time, she listed her Cotswolds farmhouse for £22.5 million, barely a year after buying it. Then purchased a $27 million mansion back in Montecito, California. She clearly wasn't settling into England. She was circling back to Hollywood's front door. CNN also reported she was taking meetings with writers and producers, and sources confirmed she was keeping her options open. By this point, the pattern had become undeniable. Declare retirement, test the waters, face resistance, retreat, then try again from a different angle. And she's already done it 3 times since 2024. But each attempt gets a little smaller, a little quieter, and just a little more desperate. Now here's the fact that makes all of this harder to explain away. Ellen DeGeneres is worth an estimated $450 to $500 million. At her peak, she earned up to $84 million a year from the talk show alone. She and Portia also bought and flipped 34 luxury properties for roughly $190 million in profit. This is a woman who could never work another day and still live more comfortably than 99% of the planet. So if it's not about money, what is actually driving her?
I want to thank my staff and my crew once again, but most importantly, I want to thank Mary, Andy, and Craig. You have been with me since day one, and I am so grateful. I got so lucky that I have 2 executive producers that not only knew how to make a great show, but make a great show for me, because you understood me, you got me, you knew who I was, you knew my comedy, my sense of humor, you knew what I cared about, what was important to me.
To understand what Ellen is doing, we have to go back to the first time she lost everything. In April 1997, Ellen came out as gay on national television. 42 million people watched her sitcom character say the words, and Ellen simultaneously came out on the cover of Time magazine. It made history, but it also nearly ended her. ABC canceled the show within a year, advertisers pulled out, and Jerry Falwell called her Ellen Degenerate. She received threats and spent roughly 3 years unable to find steady work, struggling with depression in an industry that had decided she was too much of a risk. Then, in 2003, she launched her daytime talk show, and America didn't just give her a second chance. They embraced her completely, not because Ellen had changed, but because the culture had. People felt guilty about how she'd been treated, and welcoming Ellen back felt like progress, like proof the country had grown past the ugliness of 1997. Her comeback worked because the audience needed it as much as she did. And it didn't just work, it became the biggest success story in daytime television. 19 seasons, brand deals, best-selling books, 2 turns hosting the Oscars, and a selfie with Bradley Cooper that briefly broke the internet. Ellen went from unemployable to untouchable. But that experience taught Ellen something powerful. Disappear, let time pass, and people will come around. And that's the exact strategy she's running right now. The Netflix special, the dramatic exit to England, the quiet re-emergence through small UK shows, and the slow pivot back toward Hollywood. It mirrors the 1997 to 2003 playbook almost perfectly. But 2020 isn't 1997, and that's the thing Ellen either can't see or refuses to accept. Even in her Netflix special, she tried to frame it as the same fallout, joking that she'd been kicked out once for being gay, now for being mean, and eventually for being old. Mean, old, and gay. The triple crown, she called it, as if those were the same things. But they're not. In 1997, America punished her for being honest about who she was, and the comeback worked because people felt guilty about it. In 2020, she was held accountable for how she treated people. Employees described a workplace where a black staffer was told they might get confused with the only other black employee, and where someone returning from a mental health crisis was told their position had been eliminated. There's no guilt coming for that. The playbook only worked when she was the one who was owed an apology. This time, however, she's the one who owes it.
It is the new, I'm going to unbox it for you right now. Okay, I'm going to do it like those videos to make it really...
So if the strategy keeps failing, why is she still using it? The answer goes deeper than stubbornness. Her Be Kind brand wasn't just a talk show catchphrase. It was Ellen's direct response to what happened in 1997. She came out, was rejected, and rebuilt by becoming the safest, warmest, most universally liked woman on television. And for nearly 2 decades, it worked. The talk show, the Emmys, the celebrity friendships, the Be Kind merchandise empire. All of it was proof that America loved her again. And for Ellen, the approval was never just nice to have, it was the whole point. And when 2020 took that away, it didn't just cost her a television show. It wiped out everything she'd spent 2 decades rebuilding. But every time she tries to rebuild again, the past continues to follow her. Fresh allegations keep surfacing with every comeback signal she sends. A former cameraman claiming she refused to let a staffer leave for her daughter's bone marrow transplant, and former writers trashing her on podcasts. And the cancelled UK tour might be the most telling evidence we have. 5 dates were announced, but all of them were cancelled with no explanation. Whether it was poor ticket sales or something else, the optics are the same. She tested the waters in a country that doesn't even carry the same level of cultural anger toward her, yet it still didn't work. Meanwhile, the industry has already moved on. Kelly Clarkson has her time slot, Jennifer Hudson has her audience, and the daytime landscape rebuilt itself without Ellen in it. No WME signing can change the fact that she can't guarantee an audience anymore. But she's still trying, because for Ellen, not trying means the approval is gone for good. And that's the one thing she's never been able to accept. The real reason Ellen DeGeneres is desperate to come back isn't money. It isn't boredom either. Nor is it the love for the craft. It's that she built her entire identity on being loved by millions of people. And when that was taken away, she doesn't know who she is without it. In 1997, she lost everything and rebuilt on approval. 2 decades of it, validated by every award, every viral moment, every audience that showed up. And when it was revoked again in 2020, the only instinct she had was to run the same play. Disappear, wait, come back. But the play only works when the audience feels guilty, and this time, they don't. Do you think Ellen actually deserves another chance? Or did she already get one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.